Your Pac-Man GP. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you another invention. Today's invention is from the automobile industry. The last two or three inventions that I've discussed, they were mainly from the consumer durable side, related to home appliances like ceiling fan, pressure cooker, so on and so forth. But today I'm going to digress a little bit and move towards the automobile industry. There are some beautiful innovations, beautiful inventions for which patents have been granted in the automobile industry. And I thought it is necessary that I should discuss some inventions from the automobile industry. Without wasting any further time, I'm going to present my PPT. So please bear with me. Let me just enlarge the screen. Okay, so the title of today's invention is an automatic tire deflator in a vehicle. So basically, this invention is related to a system where the tires of a vehicle can be deflated automatically. So we talk about deflation of tire. What is this exactly about? Because, I mean, nobody likes deflated tires, right? Everybody likes to have full hawa in their tires with the optimum pressure, with the required pressure, so on and so forth. So what is this automatic tire deflator? Okay. So before I move on to the invention, I would like to discuss what is the need for having a tire deflator in a vehicle. So basically, it so happens that many times when a vehicle is sort of operating on a motorable road, say a tar road or a concrete road, a particular amount of pressure is required to be maintained in the front wheels, in the front tires and the back tires. Okay, if it so happens that if the vehicle veers off onto some kind of a terrain which is sort of soft and slushy, say for example the terrain becomes a little sandy or snowy, then maintaining the same kind of pressure is not advisable. The pressure in the tires have to be reduced. This is required so that best traction can be acquired between the tires and the soft surface, such that the grip between the tires and the soft surface can be possible, and the tires don't keep on rotating at the same place, and proper maneuverability and proper mobility of the vehicle is possible in that kind of a soft surface. So this is the need which the inventor of this invention has identified, that there was a requirement for a system where the tires could be deflated without the operator or without the driver getting out of their car, getting a pointed object like a pin or a pen and using it to deflate the tire without even getting out of the car, without even getting out of the vehicle. If the tire deflation was possible, then it would be a very desirable kind of a situation for the driver or the operator, and which was a need which our inventor identified, and because of which they have conceptualized this particular invention. So what is the invention? What is the basic construction of this invention? I will come to that. I'll move on to the next slide. So as you see, this is the diagram of a sectional front view of the tire deflator, which is highlighted by the reference numeral 100. Okay, so this is the sectional front view. If you see, this is the valve cap. Now, if you come to the bottom of this figure, there is a valve pin 105. So if you look at the valve pin, which is projecting out of the wheel of a wheel set or a particular wheel, you see there is a small pin. Now, if you use a pointed object to push that pin behind, the air starts flushing out and the tire starts getting deflated. So this is that pin. It is denoted by the number 105. Okay. Here, this pin is adapted on an element which is called as an actuator, which is connected through a battery to this electrical controller unit. So basically, this is the brain of this particular system. This is basically the computer based on which, or because of which, this entire system is working. It is basically a computer related invention, we can say that. Okay. And of course, there is another member over here which is called as a holding member. This is holding this entire setup in its place. Okay, so that it doesn't budge from here to there, or it is held rigidly in its place. So this is the basic construction of this particular invention. So I'll come to the working of this invention, how this invention is particularly working. So this electronic controller unit, 102 over here, it is connected to another unit which is called as a sensory unit. Okay, now this the sensory unit is not visible in this diagram, but what is the sensory unit that I will tell you. So there is a camera which is part of that sensory unit, and that camera is sort of lodged very close to the, the front grille of the vehicle, close to the radiator, such that it is able to monitor the terrain as the vehicle is moving in the forward direction. Okay, so it is capturing all the images from the terrain, from the front of the vehicle, and it is relaying those images back to the electronic controller unit. So this is how the terrain is getting monitored. So based on the type of terrain which is captured by the sensory unit through its camera, okay, the electronic controller unit then makes a decision whether to urge this particular valve pin to come in an open position so that the air can be flushed out and deflation can be effected or not. This is how it is. Okay, so this is the basic premise of this invention and basic working. Okay, so now let us see the working. For example, if the vehicle veers off on a sandy surface, so definitely the camera which is fitted next to the grille or in the front of the vehicle, it will capture that, okay, now the terrain has changed. So therefore it will capture an image of that terrain, the sandy terrain, and send it across to the electronic controller unit. Now, as soon as the electronic controller unit receives the image, it triggers the actuator. What does it mean? It urges the actuator to move in the upward direction, such that this valve pin is therefore moved in the upward direction, and therefore an opening is sort of created in this particular region of the system. And since this opening is created, the air that is inside the tire, it starts getting flushed out. But here the question is, for how much long will the valve pin remain in the open position? That is a big question, because we don't want the valve pin to remain perpetually in the open position such that all the air in the tire gets flushed out. The answer is that the electronic controller unit is already fed with, it is already configured with a particular time limit for which it has to urge this actuator to remain in this upward position such that the valve pin remains in an open position. Okay, and depending on the terrain, for example, a particular pressure has to be maintained if the vehicle moves in the sandy terrain. Okay, for example, X psi. Okay, X psi, that is the pressure that is required in a tire. Okay, so for arriving at X psi inside the tire, what is the time for which this valve pin has to be maintained in the open position such that the extra air can be flushed out? That time limit is already configured, or that time limit is already fed inside this ECU. Okay, and the moment the sensory unit or the camera of the sensory unit, it sends the picture or the image of the terrain to the ECU, the timer starts. Okay, the timer starts, the actuator gets actuated, it urges the valve pin to move in the open position, the air starts flushing out of the tire, and the timer starts, it has already started, it is ticking, it is moving towards that predetermined level until which it has to maintain the valve pin in the open position. Okay, once that predetermined limit is reached, that threshold is reached, the ECU sends another signal to the actuator 104 over here, and the actuator again urges the valve pin to go in the closed position, thereby obstructing any further flow of the air from inside of the tire towards the outside. Okay, so this is how the automatic tire deflation is effected. Now, this is generally the invention. This is what the inventor has claimed in their patent application, and this is what for which the patent is granted. Now, incidentally, when you read the entire patent specification, nowhere in the specification the inventor has mentioned anything about how the tires will be inflated again. So this particular system is specifically for deflation of the tire whenever there is a change of terrain, and whenever there is a requirement for the deflation of tire. But what if that terrain changes and again the car veers off on a motorable road? Okay, on a tar road, the tire will have to be inflated again. So what happens in that situation? So that is actually not explained in this particular patent. And I don't think that is the crux of this invention. This invention is mainly focused on tire deflation, not on tire inflation. So this is your invention for today. I hope you liked it. And if you have liked it, please subscribe, please comment, please like this video, and let's make it viral as soon as possible. If you have any questions, please write them in your comments. I will be very happy to answer all your questions. This is your Pacman GP. Have a great Sunday. Thank you.